It's like, this is the clearest, like, fixed fight you're ever going to see. But look at this guy holding his hands up and watch. Watch that. He, like, literally shows him his chin, like, and he goes down. It's so fake. Look at, I mean, he's got nothing. It's like a guy who just learned boxing yesterday.
World title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is.
No fantasy contracts, just reality. You know, bringing our work to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth.
This story doesn't end quietly. It ends with legal trouble being talked about behind closed doors, reputations burned, and a once solid heavyweight legacy left staring into a massive hole. To understand how it reached that point, we have to rewind. If you look away for even a second, you miss the exact moment when the foundation of boxing cracked. What happened didn't explode right away. It moved from a silent conversation into a very public collapse. And the result is larger than a knockout, larger than money, and larger than pride. It raises a much harder question. Can we still trust what we're watching? It sounds unreal, but it's real. And that's what makes it so disturbing.
And that's why Jake Paul is so relevant, because he's found a way to bypass promoters and make money in the boxing rings instead of being a prisoner to the promoters. Even though he didn't fight anybody, he's about to fight Anthony Joshua, and we'll see what happens with that. Anthony Joshua should knock him into tomorrow because he's the bigger fighter with incredible power, but he's got a glass jaw. So if Jake Paul catches him, who knows?
When the story first appeared, it didn't feel like the usual noise that surrounds big fights. Let me be clear, this wasn't trash talk. It wasn't promotion. It wasn't hype. It felt like a door opening just a little. And behind that door sat power, influence, and a suggestion so dangerous it could poison the entire division. When Anthony Joshua speaks calmly, without showmanship, and says something that feels casual but hits like a hammer, that isn't background noise. That's a warning. You felt it immediately. Your body reacted before your mind did, and you know it.
Fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has...
Here's where things get uncomfortable. When this came out, it didn't arrive with shouting or drama. It crept into the light quietly. It showed up in a space where people usually drop their guard. And that's the scary part. This wasn't someone chasing attention. This was a heavyweight champion explaining why certain fights don't feel right, why some opportunities never seem to happen, and why money keeps knocking louder than honesty. And if you listen closely, that sound isn't getting quieter.
There's people out there that are going, Jake deserves credit, this is amazing, he's gone 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua. He hasn't gone 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua, he spent 5 rounds on his bloody bike, and the other diving for cover. Come on, let's get real about what happened last night. The dude basically used the greedy to hoodwink the stupid. Fair play to the kid, man. He made 50 million plus. I mean, someone's just sent me a message saying that they did 90 million. Respect. There's people out there saying, oh, he kept getting dropped multiple times and getting up. No, he didn't. Stop lying.
Now let's talk about the real shock. The shock is the idea that power believes it can bargain with outcomes, that history can be written in pencil, erased, and redrawn. When that idea even brushes up against a fighter built on real pain and earned damage, something snaps. Boxing isn't entertainment content, and the moment you treat it like content, you invite chaos. I'll say it plainly. Someone believed Anthony Joshua could be handled like a brand instead of a fighter.
AJ, do you think Jake is on your level whatsoever?
No. No.
No, okay.
Respectfully. Because it's clear. If I say yes, I'm going to be lying to myself, and I can't lie to myself. It's not that he can't compete,
right,
but when you talk about, for example, music, how many albums I've put out, how many mixtapes I've put out,
right,
he just hasn't got the body of work I've got in boxing.
Got it.
I can already hear the explanations forming. Misunderstandings. Jokes that went too far. Strategy discussions taken the wrong way. But pay attention to the delivery. Listen to how measured it was. That calm tone says everything. When a man refuses the circus and simply draws a line, that speaks louder than any accusation. And here's the part people avoid saying. If this idea was raised here, who else heard it? Who else agreed silently? Who chose not to speak? Silence doesn't mean innocence.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's two things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are.
This is where it cuts deep mentally. Boxing survives on uncertainty, on the belief that once the bell rings, anything can happen. If that belief is damaged, you don't just ruin one night, you cheapen entire careers. Every fan who ever shouted during a fight feels it, even if they don't realize it. That uneasy feeling, that quiet question asking whether the outcome was decided before the gloves were even put on.
Suing Anthony Joshua. And the reason has everybody side-eyeing this whole situation. From what's being said, Jake is claiming Anthony Joshua went off script. And when I say off script, I mean, there was supposedly a no knockout clause, or at least very specific fight rules, and Joshua hitting Jake so hard that his jaw got dislocated in 2 places was not part of that agreement. Jake basically saying that punch crossed the line from just boxing into what he's calling malicious intent.
From Jake Paul's perspective, or from the outside looking in, don't get it twisted. This isn't about hating crossover money. It's about control. It's about who owns the story. It's about someone thinking they can guide violence like scenes in a script. And when that idea meets a fighter who earned his power the hard way, the refusal becomes the story. That refusal scared people because it proved something uncomfortable. Not everyone can be bought.
Paul gets knocked out predictably by Anthony Joshua in tonight's fight. Now, I am torn on this fight. When it first started and Joshua was giving it, I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. It's the Tyson fight again. We're talking about 2 fighters who are pretending. It looked like a Rocky fight at the start. Joshua was afraid to let go. He was just like tapping. Let Jake get a few punches and everything. And then I'm thinking, hang on, I'm torn between 2 ways.
As the conversation spread, other fighters and analysts started reacting, though mostly without saying names. Pause here for a moment, because this is the part that truly unsettles me. The response wasn't denial. It was confusion. And confusion is where rumors grow. Clips get replayed. Fans start connecting dots that promoters desperately hope stay separate. And I'm telling you now, there's more beneath the surface. More that hasn't been said. Because saying it would set off something nobody could stop.
Messy. If Jake is really saying this fight was supposed to follow a script, then what does that say about the event, the Vegas crowd, the betting money, all of that? Because that opens up a whole different conversation nobody wants to touch. He's allegedly claiming Anthony Joshua could be on the hook for something like $20 million for violating the rules and going beyond what was agreed upon. But let's be real for a second. This is boxing. People get hit. Jaws get broken. That's literally the risk you take stepping into the ring.
Do you think the divided reaction was accidental? No. It was tribal. One side wants the show to feel clean and controlled. The other wants the sport to remain pure. When those two collide, the damage doesn't come loudly at first. It comes as whispers, careful statements, people choosing every word like they're stepping on broken glass. And that carefulness tells you everything.
In a section where the 2 parties are going to meet, talk, discuss, have this. Just watch this video.
And mentally.
It's already written.
Where?
In the history books, brother.
In yours, not mine.
No, it is.
No.
You'll see. There's only one God, and God wrote it.
You see with Jake, what I learned about Jake is that he's a mental person. This is my observation. Not only the physical aspects of training, but the way he thinks, meditation, breath work. If I can break his soul and I can break his mentality.
Here's the ticking bomb people aren't ready for. Once the idea of a script enters the conversation, every punch gets questioned. Every slow round looks suspicious. Every tactical pause feels planned. I see fans rewatching fights like investigators. That's not entertainment anymore. That's distrust. And distrust spreads faster than any promotion ever could.
Was he carrying Jake Paul? Was he carrying Jake Paul because of the script with the mentality of knocking him out before time? Or was Joshua not wanting to potentially hurt this guy? Like hurt him. Like he was throwing single punches, sometimes the odd 1 or 2s. You know what I mean? The first 4 rounds, you're talking like 8 punches to 5 punches. And he was like, I was thinking now, there's some sort of script.
The impact didn't stop inside boxing circles. I keep coming back to what wasn't said. Anthony Joshua didn't pose. He didn't showboat. He didn't drag it out for attention. That restraint makes the meaning heavier. People chasing attention don't move that way. People protecting boundaries do. And if this makes you uncomfortable, that's a good thing. Comfort is how these problems stay hidden.
The Jake Paul fight script just got leaked and the details are absolutely insane. This script goes back to the initial promotion where he was supposed to fight a super underweight Gervonta Davis. But we now learn this fight was never supposed to happen. The plan was always to fight Anthony Joshua, but they started with a villain arc by positioning him against someone 70 pounds lighter. So when he goes to fight someone heavier instead, he looks like a hero underdog instead of the initial side. But that's just the beginning. The script for the actual fight is set up for it to go the distance and Paul to be awarded the win by decision.
This moment also exposed the imbalance of power. Let me leave you with another unsettling thought. If something like this could be casually mentioned to a global star, imagine the pressure on fighters without leverage, without a voice, without options. Think about the quiet agreements, the unspoken understandings, the contracts filled with vague language. And tell me honestly that none of that exists. You can't. I hear the legal arguments. I hear the numbers and threats. But boxing has always been dangerous. Bones break. Jaws crack. That's the deal fighters accept. The moment that risk is reframed as a violation of a plan, the sport flinches. Because now the ring isn't a proving ground. It's a liability. And that shift should scare everyone. Pause again. Take a breath. This isn't over. Not even close. Networks are watching. Sponsors are rethinking. Young fighters are paying attention. Older fighters are looking back and wondering how many tests they faced without knowing it. Somewhere, someone is nervous because a boundary was drawn in public, and they don't know how to move around it. I'll leave you uneasy on purpose. There are too many gaps, too many careful phrases, too many people acting like this is normal. It isn't. And if you believe the story is finished, you're not watching closely. The next moment won't come with a warning. It will arrive suddenly. And when it does, boxing may not recognize itself anymore.